Martin, we'll start with last weekend's result. We won't dwell on it too long, but we'll start there. The FA Trophy was a really disappointing performance.
Yeah, it wasn't what we expected. I think that was our worst performance of the season. And from in one aspect, if anything comes out of it good, is that I'm pleased it was a cup game and not a league game, because from start to finish we were second best. We created two great chances where we should have scored 2 goals before half time, but our performance just wasn't good enough.
I mean, you've said you're glad it was in a cup game and not a league game. I suppose the flip side of that is you've had a lot of success at the club. The one thing that you are probably missing is a bit of a cup run, and that must be a little bit of a source of frustration for you, because that hasn't happened yet, has it?
Yeah, we talked on the way back on the bus that we've never had really any success in any cup competitions, and we've got to assess that going forward, because we do know our priorities. The league, it always has been since we've taken over the club, but equally, the FA Trophy, the Vars or the FA Cup, 3 major competitions that you want to see how far you can go in them competitions, and we've been very poor.
There was a red card for Alan White, and given your previous comments about his discipline, is there any further outcome from that? Or?
I've met with Alan White since, and we to meet again at the end of the week, and hopefully we'll have something resolved within the next 48 hours.
Okay. Away from the FA Trophy, you bought 2 signings back to the club, or one back to the club, and one that we had on trial in pre-season. Wilson Nishaw, he's a prospect, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got something different. I think get him on the grass and get him in the right conditions and get him on the ball in the right areas. I think he's definitely got something to offer. But he's missed a lot of football. He's had a pre-season which has been very good with ourselves, then Gateshead, then went to Barnsley and beat Chesterfield, and as football is, he's ended up back with us. So for us, hopefully it's only good, but he needs match time, he needs minutes on the pitch, and I think the more minutes he gets, the better he will become. So it's down to him of how hard he works in training, and when he gets his opportunity, that he's got to take his opportunity.
It's one of those signings which I suppose you've got a little bit of an eye to the future for, because if it all goes well and he does work hard and you can do what you've done in the past with players, then there's a little bit of potential there. He could be an earner for the club.
I think he can certainly play higher, that's for sure, but he's got to do it at this level first, and I think that's what we say to every player. Come here and prove how good you can be and see how far you can take yourself, and that's what he's got to do now. And
back to the club is Gary Brown. Bit of a surprise for a few people.
Excuse me. He was unhappy at his previous club. It just wasn't working out for him. So we always kept contact, and we always left the door open that if the opportunity came along and the timing was right for everybody, it wasn't left too late in the season. So we spoke, and it was right, I felt, to bring him back in. He's been hard to replace. The lads that stepped in and filled in that gap has done well. At the same time, he's a leader. He's been very much missed off the pitch as much on the pitch. But again, he's no different than anybody else. He's got to start and do it, and he starts from this Saturday again. That he's got to put in massive performances to stay in the team.
I suppose it's a fairly easy decision to make, isn't it, in some respects, because you know his temperament, you know his character, and you know what he's capable of out on the pitch, isn't it?
Yeah, you do. You know what you're going to get, and I think that's one of the sort of things that really sort of you knew about Gary, that he was just solid in every department. And it was never a big gamble. It's just making sure that now he puts in big performances.
Midweek there was an interesting result, a couple of interesting results actually. One of them being the Salford one. As a result of that, you look at the table, it's there for someone, isn't it? Really.
It's tight. It's crazy. There's no easy games, and it's proven all season. Ramsbottom taking points off Blyth. The game last night, Salford taking points off them. Yet they go beat Notts County, and that'll happen all season. And it's about who can not drop too many points, who can sort of stay in the mix. Ourselves, Blyth, Salford, and there'll be 3 or 4 other teams that will be there all the way to the end. You believe me?
I suppose it's getting up to that point in the season now, isn't it? A few weeks before Christmas, where just make sure you're in that sort of top 5 or 6, and then take it from there.
Yeah, listen, conditions play a big part. I got some information back from the game last night, and it was wild at the Salford game last night. Apparently they couldn't kick the ball, couldn't get 30 yards up the pitch, and it was coming back, and you know, we've experienced them nights. I remember Darlington v Bishop Auckland, you know, the second half of the game, and we camped in our own half, couldn't get out because of the conditions, and ended up losing 2 points. So it does happen, and unfortunately it comes around every now and then, the weather, the conditions, but you know, it's the game we involve in, it's our climate, we can't do anything about it. We're playing all these types of weathers, good, bad and indifferent, and you know, we just got to make sure that everybody stays focused on the job. You know, we're back at the training ground tonight, business as usual, practice match, working on our shape, working on our set pieces, working on what we're about, getting back to our strengths, and you know, that's getting us ready for Saturday now.
You mentioned Saturday and you mentioned the weather. Fingers crossed it doesn't play a part in this weekend, because that, like you say, that'll be another tough one. Even though Grantham are down near the bottom, you know, they'll be well up for it, won't they?
Yeah, we had a great result last weekend. We were down there, we watched them, and you know, they'll be a team that'll come here and set the stall out to make life difficult, and another tough game. So we're well aware that, you know, what the opposition's about.